Well, a bit of a heartbreaker losing in overtime last night, guys, but somehow it felt like a small victory to me. Maybe it's just because we had such a great crowd and it felt like a regular playoff game. It had great physicality, just as much as the last two games, and yet, for anyone saying that Nick Nurse was bitching about the whistle and the Raptors were not going to affect the whistle, you're wrong. It just shows you how lucky we are to have this coach. The whistle was completely changed last night, especially in the first quarter where we actually saw a regular freaking basketball game for once. So anyone saying Nick Nurse should stop bitching and the Raptors should stop bitching, it's a good thing they did bitch because they've given us a chance in this series, even though we're now down 3-0. But I kind of feel like Nick pointed out in the last game,
we need more games, man. We got to figure out a way to dig in there Saturday afternoon and figure out how to get more games, because I think you can see again some obviously valuable time out there for Precious, OG, Chris. You know, those guys need these moments.
We've seen the development of this team over the course of the year, and it's been such a pleasure to watch. It's been so fun. And we all know that being in these playoff games is a major step forward for this franchise as our ring bearers, Chris Boucher, OG, Freddie, and Pascal, kind of pass on the Kyle Lowry torch to the next generation. And the experience they get in these playoffs is what's going to have them come back next year and do it. But I don't want to be done. In fact, I'm going to say Raps in 7. Just because I want to see him play more games. So before I go on a rant about these calls one more time, I want you to comment down below and tell me how many games will the Raptors win in this series. Remember that every game played, not necessarily victory, is experience for our young core. And we pretty much got the young core locked up till 23-24. So every game is a step in the right direction. Now I do want to talk about these calls. No, more accurately, I want to talk to my fellow Raptors fans that think there was no problem with the calls, or that we should stop bitching about the calls because we sound like whiners. I'm talking to you guys, and I love you, okay? We're all Raptors fans, but you're wrong. If we stopped talking about those calls, nothing would have changed. And everyone knows there's an epidemic problem in the NBA, and has been for years, with treating superstars. The league literally has a list of golden boys that it calls whistles differently for. That can be fine during the regular season, but in the playoffs, it needs to actually stop. Not talking about the calls is like people that want to bitch about government and politics and poverty and global hunger and problems in Ukraine, but they don't want to do something about it. They don't want to actually get engaged in the conversation or politics, or fight the fact that it's happening, the injustice is taking place. Go be apathetic in your own house, because this was never about whining Tim McAuliffe, master of sports nothing.
What, you want to learn something?
This was about actually taking action, joining together, and fighting the man, dude.
Who?
The man. Oh, you don't know the man? Oh, well, he's everywhere. In the White House, down the hall.
Referees blowing whistles to reward floppers. They're the man. This was about causing change, actual action. And we need more of this. And guess what? It caused change. Why? Because it's clear to anyone that watched videotape of Floppy Joe flopping around the court that he looks like an idiot and was making a mockery of a beautiful sport. So the league took action and gave instruction to the officials. The officials watched tape of the first 2 games and clearly had a different whistle. Don't believe me? Argue with the numbers, dude. The numbers don't lie. Let's take a look at the first quarters of those first 2 games that were a complete mockery of how the game of basketball is meant to be played. And did Floppy Joe stop flopping last night? Hell no. But did he get a whistle every time? No. That's change. Fight the man. Let's look at the stats. I just want you guys to see that if you take the first quarter of fouls, okay, there is in 2 games for a grand total of, here, I'll bring up my calculator and show you what it actually returned. For a total of 101.44 minutes in 2 games, in 101 minutes of basketball in the first quarter, there was 1 foul on a Sixers starter in those games versus 9 for the Raptors, plus a whole bunch on the Raptors bench. The bench penalties, personal fouls, were roughly even. That's unnatural. And what it does in the first quarter, like we saw in game 2, was take the momentum away from the team that is dominating. The Raptors had turned the Sixers over in that first quarter. Freddie was on fire. We were dominating. The crowd would have been out of that game. Instead, it wasn't the whistle, Tim McAuliffe, that was the problem. It was the fact that the whistle was being blown for Floppy Joe. Last night's whistle was proof that Joel Embiid does not need the whistle to win basketball games. He's one of the best players in the league. And I don't think anyone has a problem losing to Big Joe when he plays like he did last night. He's still flopping around like a baby, but they didn't give him the whistle. And that's the difference. So screw you, Tim McAuliffe. I wish you well in life, but stick to freaking baseball. Go Raptors, I say Raps in 7, just for shits and giggles. Enjoy your day, guys.
This is Chef's Kiss approved. Mwah!